In August of 2024, we headed north to Canada. Join us for part 4 of our Grand Loop tour of British Columbia as we head south on the Alaska Highway, traveling from Watson Lake to Dawson Creek. Brought to you by Occidentalist Outdoors. Before getting started on the Alaska Highway southbound, we made a stop at the Signpost Forest in Watson Lake, Yukon Territory. Now numbering over 100,000 signs, the Signpost Forest started as a single sign in 1942, planted there by Carl Lindley, a homesick soldier working on the Alaska Highway. It's taken off in exponential proportions since then. Having only a sticker as a sign, we found a spot and left our mark. Then we headed south out of town. Contrary to the vision you might have in your mind if you haven't been on the Alaska Highway, the road is smooth pavement with broad shoulders. And as the plentiful sign suggests, you do have to keep an eye out for the wildlife. We spent the afternoon heading south and then found a site for the night overlooking the Liard River. We were in for a treat with a front row seat for some wildlife viewing. A first for us, a Wolverine ambled onto the scene. Just a couple minutes earlier, this Wolverine was right on the trail of a rabbit, and although we wouldn't believe it if we hadn't seen it, the rabbit actually hid behind a river rock and lived another day. The Wolverine was now hunting high and low along the riverbank for the rabbit, but he never did find the trail. Our wildlife show complete, we settled in for an encore with the sunset over the river. The view in the evening was much better than the one we woke up to. The wind had shifted and the wildfire smoke had filled the air. Down the road just a few miles, we checked into the Liard Hot Springs campground. Surrounded by 6-foot-high electrified fence, I think the intention is to keep the bears out, but we felt a little bit like we were in a cage. You take an extra risk on your walk to the hot springs as you leave the fenced area, but the soak is definitely worth it. On the road south again, from the hot springs, you get into the heart of the Canadian Rockies. We took the opportunity to get out and stretch our legs. The rivers, lakes, and mountains in this region create a spectacular setting. Tucked into a spot along a turquoise blue river, the perfect spot to spend an afternoon. Many of the rivers in this region are clouded with glacial silt, but this one, littered with beaver dams, was crystal clear. Places like this just make me want to stop and take a deep breath. Back on the highway again, another wildlife first for us, caribou. It was time to stretch our legs again, but this particular hike started off a bit wet. Ironically, the trail eventually merged with the gated road. It turned out that starting out waiting wasn't necessary. Soon we were back off the 2-track, and up into the tundra we went. We were the only people in the world who decided to take this hike on this day. But we weren't alone on the trail. Before long, our destination was in view. And then we were headed back the way we came, richer for our time in the mountains. On our final stretch of the Alaska Highway, a bear with 3 cubs contemplated crossing the road, but then she changed her mind. All right, we made it to Dawson Creek. We were traveling down the Alaska Highway, so mile 0 is kind of our end for the Alaskan Highway.
Woohoo!
Kind of anticlimactic. The best part was up in the Rockies. The last 4 hours or so, it's just kind of like, let's get it over with. But
if we had a lot of gas in the truck, we'd go back and forth. Like,
yeah, we want to go do the Rockies again. That was nice. So that's the highlight of the trip between Dawson Creek and Watson Lake. I was gonna say Williams Lake, but
close.
Watson Lake. So definitely spent some time in the Rockies. That was nice. So this will wrap up our leg of this trip, and we still got quite a ways to go on the way home. Got some more adventures that are yet to be determined, but gonna have a good time traveling south from here. See you out on the trail. Thanks for joining us on part 4 of our Grand Loop tour of British Columbia. We'll conclude this series in our next video. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an episode. And until then, we'll see you on the trail.